All right, good morning, traders. Today's January 12th, 2026. My name is Coach Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody out there, podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Appreciate that. Thank you for subscribing to my content, following my content, liking my content. Special shout out Bob Jordan, John Jordan, Kathy Sarah Roasted, all for sharing the content. Appreciate that. Love that. Helping expand the BYOB universe. All right. I love that. Thank you so much. Hey, good morning, JA. All right, let's take a look at the market today. Actually, let's take a look at what happened on Friday. All right, so first of all, my SPY pivot this morning is going to be 693.35. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. IWM SPY made new all-time highs. Diamond Dow QQQ, higher lows, higher highs, closing over bullish traps over their 17 EMA. Stinker, FNGU made a lower high and a lower low, closing inside a bearish trap under the falling 17 EMA. SPY closed 2 hour. That's supposed to be a 2 hour uptrend. I got to fix that. And a week 2 candle downtrend. So we close with, it says right here, 2 hour downtrend. That's 2 hour uptrend we closed with. And a week 2 candle downtrend. Gold and silver made higher highs and higher lows, closing over bullish traps over their rising 17. USO starts a new daily uptrend Friday, made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. UNG made a new all-time low. US dollar index in a daily uptrend still, and closed near the 99.13 area. SPY max pain for today, 693, with a put-to-call ratio of about 1.2 puts for each call that expires today at 4:15. Remember, those index options expire at 4:15. Security options expire at 4. Main event this week is going to be Consumer Price Index, aka CPI, due to be released 8:30 tomorrow Eastern Time. 8:30 Eastern Time tomorrow. You might want to be hedged for that. I don't think there's going to be any surprises, but you never know. You never know, okay? All right, so if this is your first time seeing this list, everything over here, all right, under the bulls column in daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. Everything over here under the bears columns, daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they got a star next to it under the bulls column, means they're building out a bull flag. I call it a launch pad from which to launch higher, okay? If they got a little star next to it, they're building out a bear flag from which to dive lower, okay? So star, bear flag, platform to dive lower, okay? So not a launch pad, but a platform from which to dive lower, like a diving platform. All right, let's take a look at the markets this morning, okay? Quickly, let's just do some observations, some quick observations. We're consolidating underneath, or we got a pullback prior consolidation, all of this price action. But we failed to make a significant lower low. That's huge, okay? Because that means we got a little 10-minute uptrend going on now. So failing to make a significant lower low means they're probably going to come back up and test the highs. Don't know how far they'll get with that today, okay? But I foresee a test of the highs because they failed to make a significant lower low. Okay, so what's the pink line? Here's the breakup candle low. We could probably move it down to here, okay? So right about, we can start it there. Or we can start it up here. Either one works for me. Okay, so looking at price, all right, to probably come up here and test where VWAP left off yesterday, okay? Friday, all right? Currently, we're showing in the pre-market a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, okay? So my plan this morning, okay, is to trade the continuation of this 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. I would like to see it break a rubber band candle based on this being the point of interest. That would be the anchored VWAP right there. Okay, so based on the anchored VWAP right there, I'd like to see it break a 15-minute, 10-minute rubber band candle. And there's a free float. It looks like we already did, all right? If I push it all the way down here, okay? So it looks like we already did. All right, so now I want to trade a continuation of the 10-minute uptrend, all right, into the open. So I'll be looking to pick off, as long as it doesn't make an exhaustion candle, okay? Because if it makes an exhaustion candle, it's kind of like all bets are off. I'll kind of want to see it develop the 10-minute uptrend once again, okay? But most likely, as long as it just continues to grind up, I would like to trade a 10-minute, a continuation of that 10-minute uptrend. Again, looking to pick off the bottom of those option candles. So probably looking at, I don't know, 693, 692, all the way up to 695 calls. Probably some zero DTEs because we got the 10-minute trend already existing in the pre-market. All right, so they may go up, pull back to VWAP. That's normal, all right? But I'm looking to trade a continuation of the pre-market 10-minute uptrend. QQQ probably has the same thing. Okay, QQQ, I'm looking to trade continuation of that 10-minute uptrend. Okay, this will be a profit-taking area right here. See where VWAP left off Friday? Right there. That's going to be a profit taker. If we get the gap fill, that'll be just icing on the cake. Don't know if we'll get that far. It's a pretty big size gap down, so we'll see what happens. Same thing on SPY. All right, I'll be looking to trade right on up to where VWAP left off on Friday. If we get the gap fill, it'd be great. Again, like I said, icing on the cake. All right, but that's going to be my target up there. It's not far. It's only $3. But with some zero DTE options, all right, we could capture like some 693s, 695s. We could capture some life-changing, all right, profits, all right, for today. Probably reach our daily goal, all right. So that's the plan this morning. All right, so let's back up and let's go back and look at the market. I'm going to take the pre-market off now. All right, let's take the pre-market off. Okay. And take the circles out because they do nothing but kind of distort the picture. We don't want the distorted picture. Okay, so we got, let's go to the 2 hour. All right, I want to make sure you guys understand it. Okay, see the 3 EMAs up over the 8 EMA? So that's a bullish trap. Okay, so we had right there a 2 hour uptrend. That's a 2 hour chart. Got a 2 hour uptrend coming into the close on Friday. I know I wrote downtrend. It's a 2 hour uptrend. I wanted to show you that. 10 minute. 10 minute, we got a week 2 candle downtrend coming into the close on Friday. Okay, really kind of bullish consolidation, but it's a week 2 candle downtrend right there. Okay, on the 10-minute chart. All right, so let's look at the daily chart. Daily chart, new all-time high. Okay, it doesn't get any better than that. Just drop the mic. Okay, here's our April low. Okay, again, all-time high. All right, we're at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Weekly chart. Okay, see all the green dots on the 17 EMA? That is the 17 EMA. Okay, top of quadrant 4, obviously bullish and in an uptrend. Almost looking like a breakout here. Okay, just want to point that out. Little breakout going on. Possible. All right, monthly chart. Okay, see all the green dots? Lots and lots of green dots. Okay, bullish, top of quadrant 4. April low, top of quadrant 4. Bullish and in an uptrend on the monthly chart. What's my favorite trade? My favorite trade, 10-minute uptrend, okay, inside over VWAP, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP that lives inside the 2-hour uptrend, that's inside the daily uptrend, that's inside the weekly uptrend, that lives inside the monthly uptrend. And I like it to be over the all-time high anchored VWAP. It's going to be a little difficult to do that because we made a new all-time high on Friday, okay? But that's my favorite trade. Okay, so game plan. All right, we've got green erases red over 695.30. I don't know if we'll get that far, all right? Maybe tomorrow after CPI comes out, we might get that far. Pivot 693.35, above it I'm a bull, below it I'm a bear. Red erases green under 691.20. That's a red erases green entry. Again, a 10-minute downtrend under 691.20, okay, would be a tradable event for a red erases green right there, okay? Excuse me, yeah, red erases green. All right, I trade 4 DTE and 11 DTE Friday options on the multiple of 5, specifically for the open interest, okay? This morning got a 10-minute uptrend already existing in the pre-market, so I'm probably going to go to 0 DTEs this morning, okay? So probably going to be looking at, on the SPY, some 692, 693, maybe 695 calls that expire today, okay? That's what I'll probably be trading today, are those. Okay, now remember my goal is 1%. Let me drag that out here. And I want max risk right here. Okay, so had a fantastic day on Friday. I think I made 12K. All right, so that's the wrong one. I got it right here. No, that's not it. This is it. There we go. Okay, so my trading account 66,220. Max risk is 10%, so I will have up to 6,622 to put at risk. My daily goal is 662 for today. Okay, it's my daily goal to make more than 662. Yesterday, Friday, I would think it was like 530 something, and I went on to make 12K that day, so that was a nice day. All right, so what did I trade on Friday? It was the obvious 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, okay? That is inside of the 2-hour uptrend, that was inside the daily uptrend, inside the weekly, inside the monthly. Okay, that's what I traded on Friday to make all those gains. All right, was I just stayed with the trend. All right, had a nice 10-minute uptrend to the upside right there. Little pinch off right here, but then it resumed right after touching minor support. All right, so that was nice. All right, I traded the 10-minute uptrend right there. Okay, I like that. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP inside of a 2-hour uptrend right there. Okay, so I'll be looking to do the same thing today. 10-minute uptrend, all right, that's already existing in the pre-market. I want to kind of just fall in, all right? I want to see a river of money flowing into the market, so I just want to kind of fall in. If I see that 10-minute uptrend still taking off, as long as it doesn't put in an exhaustion candle, I'd like to just fall in that river of money that's flowing into the market. We'll see what happens, all right? So there's SPY on the 10-minute chart. Don't forget, oh yeah, I got to mention, we got CPI tomorrow. All right, so there's SPY. I got you the game plan. All right, remember I talked about 4 DTE and 11 DTE options, Friday options on the multiple of 5. I like strikes $2 to $15 out of the money. Again, I only have X amount of capital to use. All right, so if I trade in the money options, which do have a better performance, all right, it's going to cost me more for them. I won't be able to get as many, okay? But I will get better performance out of those. out of the few that I do able to get. All right. So I'm not opposed to trading in the money options. All right. But for me, I like to have a little less risk on the table. All right. Because you could get one of these big red down candles at any time. I'd rather have less risk on the table at the time, especially with zero DTEs. All right. So I trade strikes $2 to $15 out of the money. All right. Specifically, for the lower the risk, the lower the price point. My sweet spot for me is options that are priced at either 30 cents a share, right on up to $1.20 per share. If they get any more than that, they get too pricey. I can't get as many. So I like to roll out. I will typically roll out or roll out in time, and probably roll, if they're calls, I'll roll up and strike. Of course, if they're puts, I'll roll down and strike. Okay, so, or I will back off. So I'll probably roll down and strike. All right. So for those, because I like to trade like $2 to $15 out of the money. Again, my sweet spot, 30 cents to $1.20. All right. I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I trade 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Okay. Now, if a 10-minute uptrend happens to manifest down here like it is right now in the pre-market, long before it gets to the green races red entry, again, I'm not opposed to trading it, all right, as long as it breaks that bullish 10-minute rubber band candle, okay? And if a 10-minute downtrend were to manifest up here, okay, long before it gets to the red erases green entry, I'm not opposed to trading it as long as it breaks the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle. Okay, let's look at QQQ, because QQQ's got a game plan as well. All right, right here, green erases red over 627.90, pivot 625.40. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Red erases green. Underneath, 622.60. All right, again, I trade for and 11 DTE Friday options on the multiple of 5. We've already got a 10-minute uptrend already existing in the pre-market. I will look for a continuation of that trend to trade as soon as the market opens, all right? As long as it doesn't put in that exhaustion candle. All right, I trade strikes, all right, $2 to $15 out of the money. Same thing as SPY. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Same thing, okay? If a 10-minute uptrend manifests down here, all right, I'm not opposed to trading it. Just like to see it break that 10-minute rubber band candle, the bullish one, okay? 10-minute downtrend happens to manifest up here. Again, I'd like to see it break that bearish 10-minute bearish rubber band candle. Okay, so if it happens up here, just because it's not underneath the red erases green doesn't mean I can't trade it. I can, but I have some parameters about how I want to approach it. All right, I want it to break something, or in other words, I want it to show me that it has some strength. All right, in the downtrend or the uptrend, either way. Okay, so there's the QQQ game plan. Let's go to a different chart. Let's take a look at QQQ. Again, I'm going to take this off. All right, let's look at the 10-minute into the close. We got a weak 2-candle downtrend coming into the close. On the 2-hour, we have an uptrend. See, the 3 EMA was up over the 8. It's a 2-hour uptrend coming into the close on Friday. On the daily chart, we're still in an uptrend. We haven't broken anything. We haven't made any new all-time highs in a while, but we haven't broken anything. QQQ daily chart, top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. Okay, here's the April low. And in an uptrend. Quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Okay, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. April low, all-time high, top of quadrant 4, bullish, and in an uptrend. Weekly, okay, see all the green dots on the 17, top of quadrant 4, that's bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly chart, okay, see all those beautiful green dots on the 17 EMA. Here's our April low. There's our all-time high right there. And we're still in an uptrend. We haven't broken anything. So we're bullish, still in an uptrend on QQQ. All right, let's go back to daily charts. Visit few other ones. Let's try IWM. All right. Oh, looky here. All right. New all-time high. Okay. Drop the mic. It doesn't get any better than that. Okay. Bullish and in an uptrend. All right. In case you're confused. Okay. Diamond Dow. Higher low, higher high. 3 days ago, they made a new all-time high 3 trading days ago. Okay, so higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap. See the 3 EMA up over the 8 EMA. 3 EMA is this yellow line. White line is the 8 EMA. And the dots are the 17 EMA. Okay, so look at where we're closing. Top of quadrant 4. That's bullish. All right, here's our April low. And in an uptrend on Diamond Down. Now Stinker. All right, here comes Stinker. Stinker's got a lower high and a lower low, closing inside a bearish trap under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. Under the major support, all right, when we were above it, it was. Now it's minor resistance, okay, under the major support, okay, no longer in the upper third. Okay, so we're just neutral and in a downtrend because we haven't made any higher highs. There's Stinker for us. Okay, let's take a look at silver. Silver making a new all-time high today. Look over here to the right. Okay, Friday's candle, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the rising 17. Here's the 2022 origin of this move. All right, that's bullish and in an uptrend. Gold. Okay, here's the 2022 origin of this move. Okay, making a new all-time high. Okay, Friday's candle, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the rising 17 EMA. Okay, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, that's bullish and in an uptrend, in case you're confused. All right, both silver and gold. All right, on UNG. All right, here is the 2025 high, which was made in March. Okay, and ever since then, we have struggled to close candles over it. We did here, but you can see we gave it up quickly. Okay, so UNG, bottom of quadrant 1, that's bearish and in a downtrend. Lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, under a falling, see the red dots, 17 EMA, underneath the 2025 high anchored VWAP, okay? Bottom of quadrant 1, so that's bearish and in a downtrend, okay? USO was in a downtrend. Okay, but then you can see these highs right here. They made a higher high. All right, so they're now in an uptrend. When they were down here 3 days ago, they made a lower low. So they were in a downtrend, and now they're in an uptrend. Okay, make up your mind. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so here's the downtrend line. Nice work there on USO. Been a long time coming, though. I got to tell you, since June. All right. Higher low, higher high, closing over bullish trap over the 17. Okay. Right here at the midpoint still. So we're neutral, and I guess you call it we're in an uptrend. All right. So neutral and an uptrend. We're not over. This is the post-COVID high. That's in 2022. Anchored VWAP right there. So still not over that yet. So not just pierced the uptrend line. Okay, just one candle doesn't make a trend. Okay, so if they can put multiple candles on the other side of this diagonal resistance, otherwise known as the trend line, okay, we'll see what happens. All right, we may get something going on USO in the spring of 2026. We'll see. USO on the daily chart. Okay, neutral and in an uptrend. Okay, not a very convincing uptrend. Notice the wick on that candle. Okay, way more wick than there is body and tail combined. Okay, so who owned the day? Well, the Bears owned the day, but the Bulls made a little bit of an edge up. That's not much. That's due to that gap up. Okay, so there's USO. All right, let's take a look at our technicals. T2101. We went up on Friday, and market participation increased. I like that. Okay, it says absolute breadth index. Well, you substitute the word participation for the word breadth. Okay, so higher participation right there on T2101. Like that a lot. T2122, we spent the day in the overbought zone, all right? Brief visit in the buy zone. I like that a lot. As long as we don't get up to 99 or 98, all right? That would be a reversal area. Okay, I like that we're just hovering just over the threshold of the overbought zone right there. Love that. That was nice. T2122. Great job on the Bulls for that one. Of course, no wonder. Okay, remember IWM put in a new all-time high. So this is just like the measuring the price action of the NYSE, all right, New York Stock Exchange, everything in that area right there in the New York Stock Exchange, not the pink sheets, okay? So without weighting them, all right? So, of course, we're up here in the overbought. So lots of money flowing into the market to get the Russell 2000 up to a new all-time high, as well as bring T2122 into the overbought zone. Nice work on the Bulls' part on Friday. I hope that's not all they have in them. All right, we'll find out soon. All right, T2123. Okay, so this is the 15-minute chart, all right? And you can see we've got lows, and we're making some highs, making some higher highs, getting a little breakout. Okay, we did nothing. We gapped up. That's a bullish gap up. Bears never filled the gap. Okay, so we're in an uptrend. T2123. 15-minute chart is bullish and in an uptrend. On the north side of the 200 SMA, that would be bullish for me. Okay, I like that. All right, nice move on T2123. 3-bar chart. Okay, so let's look at everything. Here's our April low. There's our all-time high. Okay, there's inverse head and shoulders. That would be the head, left shoulder, right shoulder. Okay, we're looking for price to go up there and challenge, right, where the left arm left off right here, and go up and challenge the right arm. We'd like the right arm to go up and challenge the left arm over here. Hopefully it can extend a little higher and make a new all-time high. Okay, you can see price goes up, bull flags over, and there's your launch pad, and then we launch higher. All right, like to see us make a new all-time high. Right now we're coming into consolidation. All right, I just want to show you. Okay, so that consolidation right here. Okay, so you can see I'll drag this all the way across. Okay, you can see we're hitting that consolidation. We'll see if we can cut through it. I don't know. If we don't, I hope that we consolidate up here. Okay, right underneath it. Okay, I hope we move to the right if we can't get above this consolidation right here. That's T2123 3-bar chart. Okay, so we got all-time high was right here. Remember, I showed you the April low. There's the all-time high. There's the pullback. Okay, see the neckline for the head and shoulders pattern? It's a clear head and shoulders. That would be the head, left shoulder, right shoulder. Right there, that would be the neckline. So we bounce off a prior neckline. All right, and we're back up over the 200. So that's bullish. All right, a little breakout. All right, and now we're up off to the upside here, okay? If we can cut through this consolidation here, I really think I can foresee a new all-time high on T2123 3-bar chart, okay? Looking fantastic. By the way, that's in an uptrend, okay? So got a higher low right there. See, here's a low. We made a higher low. Okay, so that would be a high, and we made a higher high. So we're in an uptrend, and we're at the top of quadrant 4. So that's bullish and in an uptrend, 3-bar chart. Okay, now stinker. Stinker yesterday does, it moved up, all right, not by much. And they closed on the other side of the falling 200. This is the 15-minute chart, okay? Nothing impressive today. They're already back where they were on Friday, all right? So here's the FNGU on the 15-minute chart, okay? They need to recapture the 200 once again. We'll see what they're going to do, all right? You can see price action, all right? There is the all-time high, and this is the pullback low, all right? This, okay? Remember I showed you the April low, the origin. Okay, this is the all-time high. This is the pullback low. You can see we're still down here in quadrant 1 on the 15-minute chart, okay? And we're still in a downtrend because we haven't made any higher highs. Let me see here. Yeah. No, this is in an uptrend, all right? They made a high here, okay, and they made a higher high. So it's kind of tough to, yeah, well, there's a low here. They made a higher high. So they're in an uptrend. If it weren't for that red dot right there where they came down here, made a low, and then they made a higher high, okay? So they're in an uptrend, okay? Not a very convincing uptrend, but they're in an uptrend right there on FNGU. So 15-minute is in an uptrend. Okay, not the daily, just the 15-minute. Okay, notice they're closing, they're opening candles and printing candles under the 200 SMA. Okay, that would be, I wouldn't like that unless I was a bear, and I'm not a bear. So don't like that at all. I like it to be on the north side of the 200 SMA. Okay, so there's the 15-minute chart. You see we're underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. You see we're underneath the major support. All right, now it's minor resistance. It's only major support when you're above it. Okay, so right there you can see it's still minor resistance. So at the bottom of quadrant 1, so that's 15 minutes. We're in an uptrend, but we're clearly at the bottom of quadrant 1, which is bearish right there. On the daily chart, okay, of course, we're in the middle of quadrant 3, which makes us neutral. And of course, we're still in a downtrend on the daily chart. Okay, so back to the 15. Okay, so that's, you can see Stinker's not performing like the rest of them. All right, let's look at the economic package. We're going to start off with the dollar. Going to back way out. This is the 2025 high for the dollar. Dollar moves down and then over to the right. Okay, so bear flag. Okay, we're in an uptrend because we got a high here and we made a higher high. Okay, so we're in an uptrend. Pullback candle today, that should help the market. We'll see. We closed up here, 99.13 area on Friday. Okay, so pulling back today. SPY Max Pain 693. And that's for the options on the SPY that expired today. Okay, put to call ratio 1.2 puts for each call that expires today. On the economic calendar, nothing happening today, but tomorrow CPI comes out at 8:30. New home sales 10 o'clock. New home sales delayed report again 10 o'clock. So if you didn't get one, all right, not only are we going to give you one delayed report on the new home sales, we're going to give you two, all right, at the same time, all right? So again, I don't know if that's November, October, what week that is. That's it. And then a Treasury statement at 2, and then that's it. This is the main event this week, CPI. All right, on the earnings front, we should be getting some earnings, some bank earnings coming up pretty soon. Maybe not this week. Let me just check. Oh, yeah, look at this. Bank earnings coming out tomorrow. See that? JP Morgan's going to report tomorrow. Only almost $1 trillion, right? $896 billion in market cap. All right, they're going to report tomorrow morning. Bank of New York Mellon, $83 billion. Delta Airlines, $47 billion. Okay, but tomorrow JP Morgan's going to report on Tuesday. Okay, on Wednesday, Bank of America. Usually they report the same days. JP Morgan and Bank of America. Bank of America, $407 billion. Wells Fargo, $301 billion. Citigroup, $217 billion. Now I'm just going to say something, okay? Now, this is JP Morgan Chase, Bank of New York Mellon, okay? Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, okay? They better put out some good numbers, okay? Because these are the same cats that facilitated the market to these new all-time highs, okay? So if the market's at new all-time highs and these are the ones facilitating it, they better be putting out some new, really increasing gains. And if that happens, you could see price action get a little exacerbated and really rip to the upside. So this week could be super volatile, all right, coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday, even with the CPI. So just want to prepare you for that, okay, because it's the banks, all right, that have the brokerage accounts, all right, and with the brokerage accounts, they help facilitate all the buying and selling, so they get the market to new all-time highs. And if they're not making new earnings that elevate them to new all-time highs, something's wrong. I would think that they would have fantastic earnings. I think price does get exacerbated and moves to the upside, maybe up 720, maybe up to 750. I don't know. We'll see. If NVIDIA turns around and Apple turns around, we could see that. We'll see what happens, all right? So there's earnings. On Wednesday, Thursday, Taiwan Semiconductor, not sure yet, all right? But that's a big one for the AI community. $1.6 trillion. Morgan Stanley, $296 billion. Goldman Sachs, $281 billion. BlackRock, $168 billion. Infosys, $74 billion. Friday, PNC Financial, $85 billion. State Street, $32 billion. M&T Bank, $32 billion. Okay, a lot of familiar names, but there's some big ones in there. You got Taiwan Semiconductor, again on Thursday. All right, it's tentative. Notice they have a blank there, so there's no sunshine or moonlight. So we'll see what happens. All right, that's it for me, traders. I will see you all in 40 minutes. We'll open up the markets. Again, I'm looking for a continuation of that 10-minute uptrend, all right? All right, I'll see you guys in about 35, 40 minutes. Thank you.